afternoon. For those of you who don't know, my name is Maya Karen. I run a fashion blog called Classically Kept. It does feature luxury, contemporary, and how to style, and now natural hair care. So if you are into any of those things, please consider subscribing to my channel, then click the notification bell. That way you will never miss a video. So today's video is very near and dear and special to my heart. I am going to be answering your questions from the Get to Know Me post to celebrate my community reaching $5,000, 5K. When I tell you, I dropped Aiden off and I checked my phone just to see if you guys had made any comments, and I saw that 5,000 mark. It might not seem like a lot, but it is a milestone, especially for someone who is like me, who is kind of a loner, kind of an introvert. I am just so blessed. I'm humbled, and I just want to thank you guys. Mainly because this is something that I started, and this is something that I'm, continuing to build my brand with. But really, I didn't really think that many people would understand where I'm coming from, would really care what I was talking about. But when you are so passionate about something, it typically shines through. And I feel like that's why you guys relate to me. That's why you watch my content. So before we get into the questions, I just want to say a big thank you. Some of you guys have been here since day one. Some of you guys joined a little bit later on, but you guys have always supported me and have always made comments. I am just so surprised because, like I said, I didn't expect anyone to actually watch my content. I'm a terrible storyteller. I feel as though I am. I do stutter, and I'm working on all of those things just with my, with my stage presence, telling stories, and just getting better with getting right to the point. And I know I'm rambling, but I am just so grateful because I do want to make this a career. I do want to build my brand. I do want to build an empire. And although 5,000 doesn't seem like a lot to maybe someone who was watching or to somebody who doesn't do this, the work that goes into the photos, the videos, the thumbnails, everything that you see on my blog, everything that you see on Instagram, everything that you see on YouTube and on Pinterest, I do it all. I am a one-woman show, but I love it. It is my escape. It is my passion. Before I keep continuing, before I just keep rambling, I'm going to answer all of your questions. And y'all had some very good questions too. None of them were like too dicey. None of them were disrespectful. None of them were too intrusive. So I think I should be able to answer all of them. There is no order. I'm just going to go down the post and I'm just going to answer them. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So the very first question, I'm just going to read them from my phone. It says, my question would be, do you have wardrobe basics yourself or any you'd recommend for someone to build on? Appreciate your content, from Kenya. Thank you so much. So for me, this is kind of like a two-part question. So the first thing, it's like a two-part question with a disclaimer. On my channel, you will never see me do kind of like a capsule wardrobe. I don't believe in those. I want all the things. I want all the pretty things. I want all of the collection pieces. I don't like capsule wardrobes because I kind of feel like they put you in a box. So that's the disclaimer. Now, do I believe in staples and foundation pieces or foundational pieces? Yes. And the reason why I believe in those is because they're exactly that. They're foundational pieces that help you build an outfit, help you build a wardrobe, or you can have an outfit full of foundational pieces or staples. But I do want to break this question down into two parts. So the very first thing when it comes to staples, like I said, I do agree with that. But for me, the first part, staples are aesthetics, or what your aesthetic is or what your style is. And what I mean by that is I would consider myself maybe like an elevated classic person, meaning that the foundational pieces in my wardrobe are classic, but I like stepping outside of my comfort zone or stepping outside of that classic box because I like statement shoes and statement tops, okay? But those foundational pieces for me as someone who is a classic is going to be different from someone's aesthetic who is maybe like grunge or preppy or edgy. So staples are relative to your aesthetic, okay? And then the second portion is that staples are also relative to where you live. And I will give you an example. Let's say you have a young woman who lives in New York and you have a young woman who lives in Miami. Let's keep it streamlined. So let's say that they are both classic, okay? For instance, we have two classic women. One lives in Miami and one lives in New York. A staple for a woman who lives in Miami is going to be a pair of black sandals. For a woman who lives in New York, it's probably going to be a ballet flat, or it's probably going to be like a flat because of the weather difference. The same thing might be, let's say, for instance, again, we have that streamline. We have a classic person. It can get chilly in Miami, but it's not going to be cold to the point where you need a fur. So her cover-up might be a cardigan. It might be a car coat. Someone who is classic who lives in New York is going to do a pea coat, a wool coat, a double-breasted coat. Another example, someone who lives in Miami is probably going to have a sundress, or they're going to have a fit and flare dress. That is a very classic silhouette. That is the favorite, or my favorite silhouette in my closet. Someone who lives in New York is going to have a fit and flare dress, but they're probably going to have either long sleeves, or they're probably going to have 3/4 or 1/4 inch sleeves. So staples can also be relative to where you live, okay? But I will give you some just basic staples or foundational pieces for a classic wardrobe. And maybe I will do a video on this, just kind of like staples or foundational pieces for fall. So because I am elevated classic, or because I am classic, I would say black boot, black flat, top handle black bag, a very structured bag. Then I would probably do a fit and flare dress. I would probably do a pencil skirt, a cotton shirt, a turtleneck. I would also probably do just like a double-breasted coat. And then I would probably do a turtleneck. I would probably then do a pair of black boots. And then I would probably say like a scarf. All of those things that I named can either be worn together, or they can help build an outfit, okay? But let me know in the comments if you actually want me to do kind of like staples for fall. The next question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your life and career goals? And I'll answer the rest of it. So where do I see myself in 5 years? I see myself in 5 years stepping outside of my corporate job and this being my full-time thing. I want to be a full-time content creator, and I want to be able to make content for very large brands and doing collaborations and things like that, being on red carpets, going to Fashion Week. I think I would absolutely be like a kid in a candy store at Fashion Week, or like on the set of like a Dior film, maybe like not necessarily a creative director, just kind of like giving my input, or even as a model. So within 5 years, I do see myself fully in my content creation business. And then of course, coming out with some type of product to expand that, okay? My life and my career goals. I just explained to you what my career goals are. My life goals, I would probably say, is just to be with family. As I am getting older, I am realizing that time spent with family that you don't have issues with, time spent with family is very, very, very important. You know, I want David and I to get to the point where we have our businesses, but we are able to travel whenever we want to. Okay. Now, as far as my nutrition, I did share a video as far as what I eat in a day. I will link that down below. And then also my prior video about my skincare, I go all through my diet. So I will link that one down below as well. Okay. Next question. Apologies if you have answered this before. What got you into fashion? Was it a movie, TV show, magazines? You are great magazines. You grew up with family and friends. Have you traveled internationally? And if so, what was your favorite country or place? If not internationally, what places are your favorite in the US? Okay, so what got me into fashion? There are 3 instances where I just kind of knew, and I won't go through all of them. I maybe go through like 2. And I was young. I would probably say the very first one, what got me into fashion, is my mother and I were at an apartment. I believe we were in Alexandria, Virginia, and she bought me like my first sweater set. The skirt was pink and it had like little specks of sparkles in it. And then the actual sweater that matched, I think it was more so like an Easter outfit. It had like a line of bunnies and like a line of flowers and like a line of Easter eggs. And it was like in these very beautiful pastel colors. So my mother gives it to me. I try it on. I absolutely love it. She's like, okay, well, get dressed or put something else on. We're getting ready to go to the grocery store. I left it on, and then I put on, I think it was a little cool outside. So I think I put on some little stockings, and then I put on like little Mary Janes. When I put that on, when we went outside, when I went to the grocery store, and just being out, I know that I was young, but it just made me feel so beautiful, so confident. And the second one that I want to bring to your attention is I believe we were in the townhouse. So I think this was, I want to say, elementary school. My mother bought me a pair of Mary Janes with a slight heel on them, a little bit higher than normal. And they were called tulips. I think she got them from DSW, JCPenney, Macy's, what have you. That's typically where she shopped for me. when I put them on, I wouldn't take them off. I slept in them. So how I got into fashion is just really how it made me feel. I loved playing dress up, not necessarily with makeup, but I just loved going in my mother's closet and even in my closet and just putting outfits together. That is what got me into fashion, and that's what I have lived by ever since. Okay, let's see. Have you traveled internationally? I have not traveled internationally, just the way that my schedule is right now and just the way that David's schedule is and just with everything going on with Aiden. We actually don't have time. We just have so much going on. But David and I do have a travel bucket list. There's Bali, there's Bora Bora, there's Egypt, there's Africa. For me, of course, is Paris and France. I have traveled within the United States. I would probably have to say so far, my best location would probably be Clearwater, Florida. The water was so blue. The jet skis were so fun. David and I had an absolutely amazing time. And I believe we stayed at, it was like the Opal Sands. The resort was so beautiful. The room was so nice. So I would probably have to say that was my most favorite place to travel in the U.S. My least favorite place to drive is Philadelphia. My least favorite place that I was at, actually for an assignment, just because of the weather, it was very depressing, was Indiana and Chicago. For me personally, already someone who's always cold, that was a different type of cold, okay? We went to Magnificent Mile one weekend when we were off, and my life was almost snatched from me, okay? That was a different type of cold, but I would probably have to say Clearwater, Florida. Okay, another question that says, congratulations. My question is, what exactly do you do? I know you've mentioned it a few times, and how did you get into it? What was your initially, what did you want to do, and how have you progressed in your career? So, education-wise, I went to Norfolk State, go Spartans. I have my bachelor's in biology. The original plan was for me to be a plastic surgeon. I was involved in an accident, and my short-term memory is quite terrible. So I kind of had to reroute my life. So by trade, by career, I guess you could say by profession, by corporate, I'm an independent adjuster. Basically what that is, y'all know of Hurricane Ian. Basically what it is I'm a claims adjuster. I work claims. I started in auto, I moved to homeowners, and now I am in commercial. So that is how I have progressed in my career. I started in auto, which is where everybody starts. Then I was introduced to homeowners, and then through a storm, I was introduced to commercial. So let's say, for instance, you have a store called Mary's Shoes. Hurricane Ian comes through and does damage to Mary's Shoes. I am going to be the claims adjuster that will handle your claim. I am an inside the desk adjuster, so I talk to lawyers, insureds, agents, managers. I read policies, I issue payments, I read estimates and things like that. The outside field adjuster is the person who actually calls you to set up an inspection and will come to your home, take pictures, and write an estimate. They then send it to me, and I make sure, what they're claiming or what you are claiming is covered under your policy. I issue payments. I talk about policies. I issue denials. So I'm a claims adjuster. It's just that I'm an independent contractor. So I contract myself out on storms, which allows me to make more money than a staff adjuster. I'll leave it at that. But that is what I do by trade. Where do I see my insurance career progressing? Well, like you heard me say earlier, to be completely honest with you, I love what I do. The money is ridiculous. You can make a lot of money and you can be very comfortable. I know a couple of field adjusters who have been able to retire off of Hurricane Sandy, who will be able to retire on Ian, and who have retired on Hurricane Harvey, okay? But I'm just moving into a different phase of my life. So where I see that progressing is I want to phase that out, and I want my content creation business to not only be equal to what I'm making now, but I want it to surpass that. And there is the definite possibility and the potential to do that, okay? How did I get into it? My mother. No one really wakes up and says, hey, I want to be an independent adjuster if you don't have a family member already in the business. So my mother got me into it. I remember I graduated in 2012, and then my first assignment, I want to say, was I graduated college May 2012. My first assignment, I think, was in November of 2012. So I have been doing this for a while now, and I think the progression is going to going to be for me to phase out of it, okay? What do you wear when it's raining? I would love to see your rain fashion as a very feminine woman. This is an actually very interesting question. The reason why I'm saying that is because since I've worked from home, I haven't really had this issue, but I'm trying to think back that when I have been on an assignment, what did I wear? And to be completely honest, it was whatever I was wearing. I would put on rain boots and then I would put on a raincoat. I don't really have the issue now, but if it's raining, I just don't go anywhere. There was like no set outfit. I understand what you're asking, but I don't have an answer for you because I don't have that issue now. And when I was traveling and when it was raining, it was me wearing whatever I wanted to wear and just covering it up with the raincoat and then an umbrella. Yeah, that's a good question, but I don't really have an answer because I've never really had that issue. And typically when I'm on an assignment, I park right next to the building. So I don't have and I don't live somewhere like Seattle where it rains like 70% of the time. So I don't have like a set aesthetic or a set outfit or a set uniform for when it's raining. It's literally rain boots, flats I don't care about, raincoat and umbrella. That's it. Sorry. Okay, next question. Do you have a faith system or belief system that prompted you to dress modestly? So first, I want to address something because a couple of you made this comment and I appreciate it. Modestly. I would consider myself a modern modest. And the reason why I say that is because modesty comes in different forms. Some people find modest to be, you have to wear turtleneck all the way up here. You can't have your arms showing, so you have to have it all the way down here. Your dresses and your skirts have to come, below your ankles or right at your ankles. If that's not the look that I'm going for, I'm not going to wear that. I think I am a modern modest because if you have watched my channel, I will put on a backless dress in a heartbeat. My ceremony dress was backless and my wedding reception dress was backless in good taste. And what I mean by modest is that you will never see me with ridiculous cleavage. You will never see me with side cuts on my shirt that come all the way right. Like there's basically no shirt. You will never see me in hot pants. You will never see me in a mini, or a micro skirt as they're referring to them now. It's never going to be so much skin that it does not look like I don't have on any clothes, but I am still modest to some point, okay? Now, as far as my religion, as far as my beliefs, I grew up Christian. My father's Christian. My mother is Christian. My father loves church. That's how I grew up. But as I have gotten older and as I met my husband, my spiritual journey is still ongoing. And since I've met my husband, which most of you might not know, if you do know, he is Muslim. And I will say that it was not forced or anything like that. But one of the conversations that we did have when we decided to, I guess you could call it courting or date or marriage, was religion. I was raised Christian, but after talking with my husband, just doing my own research and listening to some of the things that, some of the sermons and things like that, I actually, I guess you could say, not even appreciate, but I feel as though I align more with some of the Muslim teachings that I do with Christianity. And there's really no need to get too personal about it. But I just kind of feel like that is a journey that I am still going on. So that is a gray area for me. I would not consider myself a Christian. I would not consider myself a Muslim. But of course, growing up and just being taught certain things, and even, Islam and Muslim, there are just certain things that you don't do. You don't cheat, you don't steal, you don't lie, you help your neighbor, things like that. Like the basic, human, not even human rights, but like the basic human morals, I abide by all of those. I try to live my life as a contributing member to society. I try to abide by those rules. But it's just that for me, spirituality and religion is still a work in progress. My walk in spirituality and religion is still developing, okay? How do you balance being wife and a mother with your other pursuits? Scheduling. And then tacking on the fact that I was working an assignment and I picked up another contract for Ian. Scheduling. That's really all. That's really all that I can say is scheduling. I'm a very type A person, so I have lists everywhere. I have an agenda. I have it on my phone. I have it in my agenda. I have it on my computer. Schedule and list. Schedules and list. Fridays are busy. Fridays we're busy. When it's warmer, Saturday and Sunday, we're busy. Monday through Friday, I'm working from 9:30 to maybe 6 o'clock every single day. Scheduling. And then when I get off work, I'm shooting a video. I'm shooting a reel. I'm shooting content. And then when the boys get home, we spend time together. Scheduling. My other pursuits, there are really no other pursuits right now. I would like to get back into ballet classes. I am trained classically as far as ballet is concerned. But there really are no other pursuits. That is enough for right now, but scheduling. And when you make that schedule, you have to stick to it. And now, of course, there are going to be hangups, there are going to be mishaps, things are going to happen, but you have to abide by that schedule. I really don't have any other answer as far as scheduling. When you schedule something, you have to do it, okay? And also, knowing when to pull back, or knowing when to take a step back, or knowing when you might be going into overdrive. Like, for instance, David might come to me and say, hey, I need some time, or hey, this, or hey, that. And sometimes it just won't get done. That's another thing that I also want people to realize. And I'm getting ready to bring up this point, and people can come for me or whatever. I keep hearing like this, hustle life. I keep hearing about get it done, get it done, get it done. If you want to get it done, you'll get it done. And then they keep bringing up like these celebrities like Beyonce and Rihanna. If Beyonce has the same 24 hours a day that you do, that is correct. But what's being left out of Beyonce and Rihanna's, and let's just use Beyonce, what's being left out of that is she has a team of people that allow her to do what she needs to do to provide for her family. I'm pretty sure all of her children have 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6 nannies. She probably has a masseuse. She has a PR person. She has an A&R person. She has a secretary. Her secretary has a secretary. Her assistant has an assistant. Then she has her husband. She probably has another nanny just for her. They have maids. They have masseuses. They have cooks. They have drivers. Beyonce does not go to the grocery store. Not only does she not have time, but she can't. She would be accosted by 100 people, okay? So I want you to keep in mind when people are saying that is true. Beyonce and Rihanna do have the same 24 hours that you do, but they have a team. It's just me and it's just David, okay? We have cleaning ladies, but that's it. They come clean our house every 2 weeks. Other than that, it's us keeping up with it, okay? So when people say that, I just want you to keep in mind, yes, you get done what you want to get done, but something might fall through the wayside, and you just have to be okay with it. But that's why within the scheduling, I put that in there. Like, I plan for those things, okay? Okay, I've always wanted to know why you prefer skirts and dresses. Have you always been a feminine woman? Who are your fashion inspirations? Have I always been a feminine woman? Yes. In high school, though, I did have a tomboy phase. Believe it or not, I did. I would not wear skirts and pants for anything. But just as I've gone through life, as I've gone through different phases as far as dresses and skirts, I just feel as though that a feminine woman, a modest woman, she just, that is my preference. She just wears skirts and dresses. I feel as though, and this is, let's backtrack for a second. I have no issues with women who choose to wear pants. That is their option. That is their right. I just feel as though as a feminine woman, as a modern woman, you can still speak your mind. You can still be very powerful when you wear skirts and dresses. Okay. Now, as far as my fashion inspirations, I love Michelle Obama. I love Lupita Nyong'o. I love Tracee Ellis Ross. I love not who she is, but Olivia Pope. Give me her closet. Not what she does, but give me her closet. And they all are very classic women, but they step outside of that classic with the shoes, with the statement tops, with the statement bags. But you will notice that within most of their outfits, they are foundational classic pieces, okay? But as far as just like the skirts and the things like that, that is my belief. So if David and I have a daughter, she will be able to decide when she turns 18 whether or not she wants to wear whether or not she wants to wear skirts and whether or not she wants to wear pants as well. And I will have no issues with that. It's just that for me, my morals and my beliefs, I believe that women wear dresses and pants. Women wear dresses and skirts. Next question. What makes you happy? What do you like to do in your free time? What makes me happy? Being in the house. I am a homebody. I could wake up on Sunday or Saturday, get completely dressed, and sit in my movie room and be fine. What do I like to do in my free time? I love to listen to music. I love to spend time with family. I love to go to festivals. I love to go to the movies. Of course, I love to shop. I love to spend time with the boys. Really like family-centered things. If I actually had friends in Charlotte, I would do like a little host party or do like a little girls get-together. But I just like, the basic things. I don't like parties. I don't like clubs. I love festivals. Give me a blanket and some music and a picnic basket and some fruits. I'm there. But I just, shopping, music, sitting in the house, putting outfits together, playing dress up, doing my hair. I actually find that doing my hair, especially when it comes to twists, I find that it can be really therapeutic for me. Okay. Next question. What is your hair porosity? I am low porosity. I would probably say about 6 months ago, I found that out and I was able to confirm. Okay. Mine is high, so it really loses moisture and the strands are fine. Any tips? I do not have any tips for you. This is my thing when it comes to hair. I will never consider myself a hair guru. First of all, because for me personally, being natural is a journey. You will forever be a student. When I give my tips, when I give my, critiques or whatever, it's from personal experience. It's things that I have researched. I don't want to give you any wrong information because number one, we have two different hair textures and porosities. You are high, I am low. I am still learning how to not deal with, but I am still learning how to best care for my hair now that I know that I am low porosity. So I don't want to give you incorrect information. What I will say to you is go on YouTube and look up high porosity from someone who slightly has the same texture as you and look at what products and tips they have for you, okay? I never want to give someone wrong information, especially when I'm just figuring it out myself. Do you have siblings? I do not. I am an only child on my mother's side and on my father's side. I am an only child. Do you plan to have more children? I want one. I already have two boys. I want one and I want it to be a girl. I want a little mini Maya. Favorite type of music? It would have to be reggae. I am Jamaican. I grew up on Bob. That is what my mother played. That is what I love. But aside from that, I love reggae. But aside from that, R&B, I would probably say your older R&B, the old Usher, the old Genuine, the old Tyrese, Silk, is it Supersonic, Blackstreet. This new stuff. I know there's a new song out. I think it's by Division or Design 8 talking about just because you caught me cheating means that I don't love you or whatever. No, we're not doing that. I love R&B to an extent. It has to have a message. It has to be not necessarily real, but it can't be like this new stuff. My girl got a girlfriend. Let me date you and your none of that. I want real R&B. But aside from that, reggae. My favorite movie. So my current favorite movie, I would probably have to say hands down right now is Aladdin, the live version with Will Smith. I love everything about that movie. The costumes, the music, the acting, the plot. I absolutely love that movie, okay? An all-time favorite, which is a very old movie, is Eve's Bayou. I love that movie. The fashion, the plot, the acting, the hair. Love it all, okay? It says, congratulations, what's your skin regimen? That video I will link down below. That was Sunday's video, okay? Next question. How did you meet your husband? What is your love story? Okay, y'all, I'm going to tell you this story, and if David ever comes on one of my vlogs, he's lying, okay? So this is how David and I met. There is a club in Charlotte called The Nile. It is a 35 and up club, which means I have no business being in there. This particular night, and my mother and I, yes, I've been to the club with my mother, okay? But this is a club where it's like, even though it's 35 and up, people are in there like in their 40s and 50s, okay? So when you go in there, it's like stepping, it's again, old R&B. There's no one in there trying to prove themselves. There's no one in there trying to push up on you. But I wasn't supposed to be in there because I am not 35 years old. But I've been going there for like a couple of years now. But it's always kind of like this, are they going to let me in? Are they not? Depending on who I'm with. So my mother and I wanted to go. We just wanted to have, not necessarily, we don't drink, but just wanted to kind of go out and dance. 35 and up club. We walk up to the front and they were like, well, you can't get in. You're not 35. So we're leaving, right? My mother's friend, Mark, he's like dark skinned, 6'5". He was like, no. Where y'all going? And he was like, okay, well, tell them Mark, or tell them like the owner of the club, tell them that you know Mark. So we do that. And we go right in, no issues. So Mark came to our wedding and he has always said, I'm the one, that allowed y'all, or that was, he has always said, well, I'm the one that kind of got y'all together, or I'm the reason y'all were able to meet each other and get married, okay? So we walk in and everybody keeps asking me to dance. So I oblige a couple of people and I say, sure, let's dance. So at this point, I'm very tired. So I want to sit down, take a little bit of a break, and then I will get back up. So the next person that asks me to dance, I'll go ahead and say yes, and we can have a dance. For like most of the night, David and I had been eyeing each other, okay? We had been eyeing each other. He look at me, I look away. He looks at me, I look away. I look at him, he looks away, okay? We're doing this all night. I don't know what prompted me to do this. And if you know me, or if you know any of my girlfriends, they know that I have never approached any man. I could think about you 24/7. I could have the biggest crush on you, and I will never approach you. So it must be ordained. It must be meant to be, because this is the first and only time that I have ever approached a man. And this is what happened. So I walked up to him and I said, so when are you going to ask me to dance? I think he had like either a beer or like a drink in his hand, and he kind of chuckles. I said, okay, so I'm going to turn around and we're going to try this again. So I do that, and he asked me to dance, and the rest is history. That is our love story. We met in September. I was his girlfriend in like November, and then we were engaged in December. So that is our love story. If he ever comes on one of my vlogs and tells you that he approached me, he's lying to you, okay? He's lying to you. We're here. We're a family. We're a community, okay? He's lying to you. I approached him, and look where we are, okay? Okay, the last question. How did you arrive at your religion/politics? How did I arrive at my religion? I am still arriving. I was raised Christian. My husband is Muslim, and I'm still exploring that, okay? How did you arrive at your politics? This is a loaded question, and I will try to be brief. I'm saying it's a loaded question because it has changed. So you are different people in different phases and different ages of your life, correct? I was a different teenager in high school. I was a different young woman in college. I was a different woman when I was moving in the world, operating in the world as a single woman, and now a married woman, taking care of a household, having kids, and living in that phase. Those are all different phases in my life. And through all of those phases, I have had, I guess you could say, different views, different political views. Right now, how have I arrived? Where am I? I would not consider myself a Republican. I would not consider myself a Democrat or a conservative or a liberal, because I agree with some Republican or some conservative views, and I agree with some liberal views. However, I have found that since I have gotten older and moved through different phases in my life, I have found that I am actually much more conservative than I thought I was. And my father would say, well, that's because you are your mother's child. And what I say to that is, I don't know if those views were already there. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I might not have been presented with that scenario, with that question, or with that situation at a younger age, and those views were already there. But what I will say as far as political views are concerned, when it comes to, like, I guess, conservatism and things like that, I'll just give you brief examples. I believe that there should be a two-parent home. children fare better when you have a two-parent home. There is research, there is statistics. They fare much better when they are in a two-parent home, when they can see that family dynamic. An observation that I have made or that I have noticed, just listening to people, talking to people, hearing stories, things popping up on my feed, when it comes to conservatives and Republicans, liberals and Democrats, it seems like kind of on the left side, kind of on the liberal side, there is this push to kind of live in victimhood. Like the left wants you to be a victim. Everything that happens to you is not somebody else's fault. There seems to be this lack of accountability and conflict resolution and not being able to communicate with someone. You can have a debate with someone who has an opposing view to you, but they're not a transphobe. They're not a homophobe. They're not fatphobic. They just don't agree with you. But I have noticed that on that side, that's kind of how they want you to live. They kind of want you to live as a victim. And everything that you do or something that you do is not your fault. I will give you a brief example. There was a young woman, she's an influencer. She's on Instagram. I can't remember if it was Instagram or TikTok. She has millions of views and she was on an influencer trip. It was a ranch that invited her out and they had horseback riding. I don't know what transpired between the invitation and her getting there, but when she got there and it was time for the horseback riding, they approached her and they said, listen, for the safety of you, for the safety of the horses, we're not going to be able to let you ride. The assumption is that because she is an overweight woman, okay? Instead of her taking accountability for that, she then gets on TikTok or Instagram and quote unquote exposes this company for being fat phobic and saying, how dare you invite me here and then tell me I can't ride your horses because I'm too fat. Instead of taking accountability for that, she then starts exposing and doing like this entire rant about it. So much so that the company actually had to put out a statement. And I saw the statement. And basically what it said is, for this particular rider, we did invite her. However, when she got here, we informed her that because of the safety for you and for our animals, we're not going to be able to allow you to ride the horses. But we have acres and acres of farmland. There are other things that you can do. You can feed, you can play with. There are other activities on our farm. You can do those. The response was very professional and it was actually very correct. And it actually got to the point where the farm was getting death threats. We're going to, death threats. We're going to come blow it up. You had like groups of people who were like canceling their reservations. Mind you, this is a small business. So this young woman didn't want to take accountability, and instead she wanted to be a victim and she wanted to blame someone else for her being overweight. And that sounds small, but that's where we are in society, especially with Gen Zs. You have to take accountability for things that are happening, okay? And I'm saying that because I have noticed that just progressing through life, if you want to be a contributing member to society, if you want to prosper, if you want to be successful, you cannot wallow in that victimhood. And it just seems like on the left, that's what they're pushing. And, one of like the core foundations, I guess you could say, of conservatism or someone being conservative is to be able to get along with everybody, is to be able to have certain views or have opposing views, and you can all still be within one community, be contributing members, and just prosper as a community, as a country, what have you. So I have arrived at my political views, and like I said, they're more conservative than I thought they would be, which I find very interesting. I have arrived at those because I find that when you align yourself more with conservative views, you are able to accomplish more. Not saying that there are liberals out there who haven't accomplished a lot. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that it's a little, to me personally, it's a little bit easier for you to get where it is that you want to be or where you want to go when you have conservative views, okay? I hope that wasn't too long. I know I'm on a soapbox and I know I'm rambling, and that was kind of like a roundabout way how to answer that question. But that's how I feel about that, okay? I just want to thank you guys so much for the community reaching 5K. When we reach 10K, I will do another Q&A. I just want to remind you that here on YouTube, I do upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And then, of course, you know, right here, I'll put my Instagram handle. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, you guys. Bye.